Oh, Riverdale, you hot mess. When will you leave my shows alone? You slaughtered Carrie, you murdered Heathers, and now you've come for Hedwig, and I'm defeated. But I'm not going down without a fight. Today, I'm going to be discussing in detail the Riverdale Hedwig episode. Now, Hedwig and the Angry Inks is not the first show I expected Riverdale to cover, seeing as it's all about a botched sex change and they couldn't even let the characters say balls last time. So, how are they going to do it? Well, let's take a look at the plot. This episode consists of an A plot and a B plot, and one of them is much better than the other. Let's start with the A plot. So this character, this one on screen right now, I'll be honest, I don't remember his name, so I'm just going to call him Riverdale. So River's setting up this big variety show that he's going to put on at his school, but grumpy principal's like, you can't do Hedwig, that is too sexual, that is too bad, no, we can't have that at our school, it's too inappropriate, and he is completely right. Now normally I'd be like, no, okay, let him do Hedwig, but according to the Netflix recap that it showed me before the episode, apparently the first time that they did an inappropriate show, someone got, murdered. So, maybe the principal's got a point? But this is the end of the world for the students, so they all rally behind Riverdale and try and fight for the school. Then there's the B plot, which is not interesting and has barely anything to do with Hedwig. It's all about Cole Sprouse's character, who is in a relationship with his girlfriend, whose name I don't know. And he's friends with Archie and his girlfriend, whose name I don't know. And they're going to all reform their band and play at the variety show. These four all get into their separate arguments, and then there's a little love affair between two of them. What they're going to do? It's really boring. Now, to be fair, they justify doing Hedwig quite well. I mean, it is perfectly believable that a student who is LGBTQ would want to put on something like Hedwig. For my grade 8 Lander exam, I did a monologue from Hedwig. But they do an awful job at balancing the two different subplots. And for an episode that's headlined as this big musical event all about Hedwig, Hedwig's completely sidelined for this boring relationship drama that's so typical. I just wish the episode spent more time on this drama between the principal and Hedwig fanboy, because that's what really works in this episode, and it allows it to pass off as a musical a lot more in those scenes. This plot seems to be building, and then it's just completely resolved off screen, and you're just thinking, wow, okay, that was pointless. Then the B plot's just there, and it just feels like it would be another episode of the show if it didn't randomly have these Hedwig songs that are just forced right into it. Now, to be fair, it would be smart to have a B plot in these kind of episodes, so you can set up the drama a little bit of the actual show, and maybe people who, like me, who don't watch Riverdale, would be interested to watch the show. But this B plot is so obvious and typical, and it just seemed like they're not trying, and it gives me no incentive to watch the show any further. Now that brings me on to my next point. I didn't like a single character in this show. They were all so stupid. Hedwig fanboy. Okay, screw. Okay, fine. What's his name? Kevin is probably the most likeable in this episode. However, there's very little you actually learn about him. And before you shout and scream, oh Daniel, you haven't seen the show, you don't know any of the characters. Isn't the goal of a TV show that every episode you give character situations that constantly build them and make them grow? Otherwise there's no point in watching the show, because nothing's changed and nothing's learned. Think about it, what does Kevin actually achieve in this episode? He protests a little bit and then gives up. Wow. What an endearing character. Oh my god, I love Kevin so much. And then he just disappears like halfway through the episode. Great. Well done, Riverdale. Well done. Cole Sprouse plays the character with the stupidest name I've ever heard. Jughead. Even if this is a nickname, who decides to name themselves Jughead? Well, actually, thank God he's got this such stupid name, because it's the only name I could actually remember. He is angsty and angry, and he needs to catch up on his schoolwork, but he's got to solve some mystery, and his girlfriend gets angry. He also has the worst line in the entire episode, which is when Archie decides to be like, yo, we should start a band. He goes, you know I support you kids with your rock and roll. Isn't he meant to be 16? Why is he calling them kids? Is this what the Riverdale writers think children talk like? I mean, it could be worse. He could just be doing this the whole time. But surprisingly, he's more likeable than his girlfriend. His girlfriend forces him to study and then gets hella mad when he isn't studying. Okay. Who even studies? I mean, if the government hasn't cancelled my exams, I still wouldn't be studying right now. Archie, the other guy, he's hella swole and works out this gym where his girlfriend's dad keeps coming, but the girlfriend's dad is very sick and gets hurt. And Archie decides the best thing to do is just not tell her, even though he knows that the father is sick and shouldn't be there. Yeah, that checks out. Then they get into a massive argument, both the pairs. And then the girlfriend apologizes to Archie. I'm sorry, what? So you are forgiving your boyfriend for not telling you basic things about your father's health condition? And somehow that is your fault! What is wrong with you? Well, at least I still like Archie and... Oh, for God's sake. Okay, everyone in this friendship group sucks. I hate everyone. Okay, there must be at least one redeemable character. Okay, okay, what about, the girl? I think I've been told her name is Cheryl. Cheryl, does a good thing, and, she goes to the principal in a diner with a massive group of girls. Okay, so Heathers exists in this universe, so it's definitely past 2015. In what world is it acceptable for a grown-ass man to go meet loads of students in his school? Now, if I was in that diner, I would not be pressing play on that recording. I would be pressing the phone numbers into my phone, calling 911 and calling the fucking police. Okay, but she does try to convince the principal, that's pretty admirable, yet by performing one of the songs from the show. Sugar Daddy. To prove the show is not sexual. Your best idea to prove this show is not sexual is to perform a song about sugar daddies in a diner. Okay, nope, 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 no, no, nope, not her, not her, not her, not her. Okay, the principal, okay, maybe he's the good character. Maybe I'm secretly aligned to the principal. Except for the fact that he recommends Carousel for the guy to sing. And just the thought of them trying to do classic operatic musical theatre makes me want to pick up this gun right now. So not him, not him. Oh my god. There isn't a single character that I like in this show. And if I'm not aligned to any of the characters, that leaves everything relying on the writing. That's got to be good, right? Is Riverdale Chapter 74, Wicked Little Town, the worst thing ever written? But that doesn't make it good. Of course, we have the aforementioned weird moments of dialogue, the terrible motivations, unlikable characters, unbalance of plots. But I think the main problem with the writing, and what ends up sinking the episode the most, is the way that they actually integrate the songs into the show. See, I can't speak for any of the other musical episodes, but what I thought would end up playing to this episode's strength turned out to be its biggest weakness. That Hedwig isn't the school play. The songs don't fit in. It doesn't make sense that they're all singing them. Now, normally, I'd be like, it's a musical, okay? Suspension of disbelief. But the problem with this is that it's not a stage musical. It's a TV show. And it's a TV show that really wants you to take it seriously. I mean, it's so naturalistic. It's got weird little mystery tapes. And it has a murder at the end of the episode. But that completely doesn't match the style of musical theatre, where it's all goofy and hyped up and non-naturalistic. I think there was one song where I thought this works, and it was because Kevin was singing it live, and that's Tear Me Down, when he does that in the massive music room. That's the only place it works. Especially where it doesn't work is in the B plot, where all these characters are so separate from the plot of Hedwig, but somehow are singing Hedwig songs. But even if it was in the right style, even if they changed the style of the show for this one musical episode, which honestly they should do, it still wouldn't work because of how hammed in these songs are into the script. Okay, here is an example. Okay, before they start singing Random Number Generator, there is a little argument that the principal and Kevin have. And the problem is, to lead it into the song, they have to take this argument into a way that the argument wasn't going at the start of the scene. At the start of the scene, he's arguing that this show is so important because it's for LGBTQ rights. And then suddenly halfway through, he just says, we're numb and we're people, not numbers. And the argument wasn't going in that way. So it feels really weird, and it feels like they're really pulling it towards forcing this song into the script. The songs are awfully spaced out too. I mean, we get about 3 songs in a row. We go straight from Random Number Generator to a really tiny little scene, straight into Wig in a Box, really tiny little scene, straight into Tear Me Down. And that just gives me whiplash from going from song to song to song in a massive chunk of dialogue. It needs to be balanced a little bit more. It needs to be pulled out so you can have song, scene, making sure it flows and is paced well. But the biggest insult of all, none of the lyrics from Hedwig actually fit what the characters are singing about. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't see anyone in Riverdale with a botched gender reassignment surgery. So when they're singing about being all sewn up, it doesn't work in context. To be fair, if you look at the titles of the songs, they work. Okay, Wicked Little Town, that's so clearly talking about Riverdale because of all the cult. Wig in a Box, that doesn't have to be about transgender. That can also be about drag queens and becoming someone different. But that only works on the surface level because they are doing these songs and they don't change like any of the lyrics except for little things like, hey, what's up Riverdale, instead of, hey, what's up Radio City or something. It doesn't work. Why can't you shift these lyrics a little bit to actually fit if you're going to do this at all? It just takes you out of the episode if you even think for a second about what they're actually singing. I mean, to be fair, it's very clear that the actors didn't really think about what they're singing either. I don't think there's any point in me continuing moaning about the show because everyone's done that. I want to do something different. I'm going to pitch my own version of this episode. Okay, first big change, B plot completely gone. Save it for a different episode. If you're going to do a musical episode, make it slightly different from the rest of the series. If you kind of set it up like that, set it as a special, kind of set in the Riverdale universe, but maybe not connected as much, it makes for a lot easier viewing. 4 band characters are now side characters. They pop in and out because I get that they're main characters. They can have a tune, but this episode is all about Kevin. Start the episode off with Wicked Little Town, but don't have the Riverdale characters sing it. Start it as like an opening credits thing. You have the title Riverdale show up as it's panning through a neighbourhood. This is Kevin's neighbourhood. Have it pan up to his window as he's watching the film. And then he can join in with, and then you're someone you are not. And then that kind of gives him a little bit more background into this. Maybe you show him being comfortable with this. I mean, I know he's had a lot of problems with the cult in the series. So maybe this is finally what makes him feel like him. And you show that to the audience and make that definite to the audience. Then have Kevin start handing out flyers about the variety, starting picking up acts. Have one of the girls, let's say Cheryl, ask him if he's going to do it. And he can deny it at first and say, no, I've got to focus on setting this up and my studies. And then she can kind of tease him a little bit and ask him to sing a song from Hedwig to everyone. There you go, first musical number, Sugar Daddy. It's silly, it's fun, it introduces you into what Hedwig's quite about. This kind of rocky, silly, campy kind of musical. But what it also introduces is the idea that this episode's a little bit different than others. That it is not completely naturalistic and you just got to kind of go along with the flow. Then we can have a scene where Kevin goes to the principal. Principal turns it down as normal. But what's important is that you don't put in the random number generator song because it's so forced in, it just doesn't work. Kevin asks if there's any other thing that he can do to make him consider, but he says it's closed and that he will listen to any other suggestion that he has. Kevin goes back to the girls, completely defeated. You can have Wig in the Box as normal, but have one of the girls play the guitar. Have them actually have like a little sing-along themselves. Almost like it's their way of boosting themselves up. And that's how you get another musical number in without making it feel too unnaturalistic or too different from the actual style of the show. He leaves abruptly after the makeover and the girls discuss if there's any way that they can help him. They decide to appeal to Principal Honey themselves, knowing that Cheryl is one of the members of the LGBTQA Alliance, knowing that she might be able to convince him otherwise. But in my version, instead of meeting in that diner that looks really shady, they meet in the actual office. And this is where you can put another one of the songs, saying, we want to show you a different angle to Hedwig. Put in Origin of Love. That's quite a nice little song, nice ballady song, makes sense. And they can be like, look, Hedwig is sexualised in different places. At its heart, it's a story about lost love and acceptance. But Principal's still standing his ground, saying his hands are tied and there's nothing he can do. Kevin and the girls regroup. By now, a lot more of the school have been hearing about what Kevin's talking about. Maybe it can go round that we see some students in the background talking about it. They start to plan their peaceful protest. It starts in the music room as normal, with Kevin singing Tear Me Down, but eventually you have a couple of Hedwigs on the football field. Then you have a couple of Hedwigs in the cafeteria. Eventually you've got this massive group of Hedwigs that Honey is just running down these halls as all these different people are singing this same song. It could be this really cool like tracking sequence where the camera's just following him and he's kind of looking here, there and everywhere, wondering what's happening and how he's got everyone inside. He's getting more and more angry. He finds Kevin. Kevin says to him that everyone is singing a song from Hedwig. He retaliates and says there is no way that anyone can do this performance and cancels the entire thing. Now, of course, Kevin would be distraught at this. This is his one chance of feeling normal again. He had put so much effort into this. Here you can put in Wicked Little Town or Exquisite Little Corpse as they do in the actual show. See, but I think there's a better suggestion that they didn't actually put into the episode. Why not do the long grift? It's all about someone beating up somebody else, blaming them. So why not internalise it? Slightly change the lyrics and make it him kind of beating himself up, saying, I've gone too far. I've ruined this for everyone. Look what I've done. Back at his home, Kevin, let's say, sits with Archie. And they're discussing what's happened. Archie says that he managed to just get his band together to play for the thing. He was so excited to play the Hedwig songs. This could be quite funny. They could say that they would have been his angry inch. But Kevin wouldn't answer. He's put so much work into this variety show, and to see it all gone to waste because he kept pushing has completely destroyed him. Then what I think they could do is Archie could talk to him and say about a student in a lower year hearing about all this and coming out as trans, showing that him pushing against this kind of thing is having a different effect and having the effect that he wanted. This would remotivate him, and he starts calling up everyone and telling them to spread the word to bring in their stuff for the concert tomorrow. The next day, Kevin makes one final plea to the principal. The principal sits Kevin down and calmly explains to him that he's really anxious to do another show like Hedwig because of the reaction that's happened to the previous shows. He doesn't want to lose his job. He's trying to be reasonable. Kevin mentions this student in the lower year that's come out as trans and says, this is why this is important to me. This starts to build a little bit of resolution to the episode. Maybe it's not completely resolved, but you can leave the shot lingering on the principal. He stood firm, but maybe he's starting to think about it a little bit more. Maybe he's thinking that maybe these shows are important. And then that leaves you open for next year to do something a little bit more edgy. And you can have your finale at the Pop's Diner thing. Have them all on the roof, but this time don't sideline Hedwig. Have Hedwig be right in the middle, singing the song with the band behind him being the Angry Inch. Now, am I saying this version is perfect? No, definitely not. There's still some problems, and the songs still don't fit in as well unless you change the lyrics, but it works for the start of the show a little bit more. And what's most important is it works better as a musical special. These episodes can't just be another day in Riverdale, because putting in music, especially music from a musical, changes so much. If Glee had an episode where they didn't sing any songs, or if Crazy Ex-Girlfriend had an episode where they didn't sing any songs, it wouldn't feel like those shows. So by putting this music in, it changes stuff, and that's so important that you go with that change and embrace the change for the better. And that's why these episodes fail. If they appreciate what makes musical theatre, then these episodes would be a damn sight better. Thank you for watching. Please consider giving this video a like and hitting that subscribe button. It helps me out so much. If you like this video, maybe check out last week's video where I looked at Waitress and analysed every Jenna's performance of She Used to Be Mine. But until next time, I've been Daniel. Goodbye.